Welcome to Private Club Radio, your weekly source for industry education, news and discussion. Broadcasting from Tampa, Florida, ladies and gentlemen, here is your host, Gabriel Aloisi.
Oh, it's great to be back with you here on Private Club Radio. We've got an amazing guest, Mark Bado of Myers Park Country Club, who also sits on a number of committees over at the Club Management Association of America. And Mark is going to talk to us about the strategic plan of the CMAA, as well as some of the redistricting that's happening with the chapters. And we're also going to talk about Mark's philosophy on hospitality and club management. And it's just a wonderful conversation that you're going to enjoy. So last week I got my annual invitation to submit an application or a speaking proposal for the big CMAA World Conference. And a lot of you have asked me, why haven't I not spoken there in the past? And honestly, I scratch my head just like you, because I think I've spoken at just about every other major industry conference except the CMAA World Conference. And it's not for lack of trying. I just want to let you know, every single year I submit a proposal, and every single year I've been denied, I think 4 years running. And I think that's like 7 or 8 proposals that I've put in there. So I'm trying for you. And all I can say is, if you listen to this show and you enjoy what I have to say, if you've read one of my books, and chances are you have, because 1 out of every 3 clubs in the country has read the definitive guide to membership marketing, and many, many, many across the country have read the ABCs of Plutonium Private Club Leadership, or have contributed or in somehow, some way been a part of that book. Or if you've listened to this show and enjoyed it, hundreds and hundreds of interviews, I think I've gathered an incredible library of information just from the experts that we've had on this show. And I think I've got something really important to say in terms of the future of the private club industry. But I'm going to rely on you this year to lobby the CMAA on my behalf if you want to hear it. If you don't want to hear it, if you're not going to be attending the World Conference, of course, I get it. But if you're going to be there, and if you really think that my voice needs to be heard, I'm going to leave it up to you this year. This year, I am not going to be submitting a proposal. And it's not out of spite or anything like that. I have been really focusing on my family this year. I'm taking many, many, many less speaking engagements and any kind of work that requires me to travel. However, I do have a real passion for this industry and a real heart to help change it and move it in the right direction, which is why this show exists, of course. And there is one topic that I think everyone does need to hear, and I would be willing to do that. It's the final chapter in the ABCs of Plutonium Private Club Leadership. It's my vision of where the club industry is heading in the next decade. It's taken me 300 or so private club radio interviews to build that vision. And it all comes from talking to the greatest experts, minds much smarter than my own. And I think there is a serious problem that is brooding for private clubs, but it's one that can be solved. And if you've read that book, you know I start off saying that your club will not be here in the next 25 or 100 years, at least not the way it is today. And if we can help change that, the doors will be open. If we can't, then the doors will be closing at a lot of our clubs around the country. I don't want to see that happen. And so if that's a topic that you want to hear, that you think is worthy of being presented, that you think could impact some clubs around the world, then let the CMAA know, and I'm going to leave it at that. The other announcement I want to make today is, it's been a while that I've talked about it, but this show exists for you, specifically for you. And as such, I want to bring on guests and talk about topics that you want to hear. When I first started the show, I created a little poll over at privateclubradio.com/vote, where you can vote for the topic. And I know we've got so many new listeners that need to know that that exists. So it's privateclubradio.com/vote, and you can choose from a number of topics or submit your own. And I do my best to find the right expert that will chat about that subject matter and be our expert here on that show. So make sure to go over there and cast your vote today and look forward to seeing what rolls in. All right, without further ado, it's time to bring on our featured guest. Well, my next guest is Mark Bado of Myers Park Country Club. Mark has over 25 years experience in the private club industry. He started his career with the accounting firm of Deloitte, where he was a financial advisor to several private clubs. He then moved on to Oakmont Country Club. They hired him to be their controller, and he held many positions within the CMAA, as he was president of 3 different chapters, chairman of the mentoring council. He was elected to the national board in 2014, and he's chaired the professional development committee. He is currently the vice chairman of the national board and chairs the strategic planning and student development task force. And he's got some other really cool recognitions. He's earned his master club manager, which is no easy task. So congratulations to Mark on that. And in 2015, he received his Excellence in Club Management National Award. So Mark, welcome to Private Club Radio, sir.
Thank you, Gabe. It's an honor to be here, and thank you for asking me to be part of this.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I want to talk to you guys about your strategic planning process at CMAA. You're wrapping up a 5-year strategic plan, and now you're looking into the future. What did you find out?
Well, one of the first things when Jeff Morgan came on board, we realized we didn't have an active or a roadmap to where we wanted to go. We knew what our vision and mission was, but we didn't have a roadmap, and we felt it was important to develop a strategic plan. So in this first year, we used the word co-creating a strategic plan, and we try to be as inclusive as possible and used whether it was our leadership of our board, leadership of the staff, but also really I thought did a really nice job of reaching out to the membership through surveying. Also, we really used LLC, Leadership Legislative Conference, to really tap into what keeps managers up at night. And we identified some of those things, and we put a strategic plan together to help identify and help solve some of those issues or provide support in those areas. And we're wrapping that up. We're in year 4, and for anyone who knows Jeff, there's no moth that grows underneath him, and we are moving forward and looking at how have we done. The first thing we're doing right now is doing a little scorecard and seeing what we did well, what we may have not done as well as we wanted to, and things that maybe we don't need to address or things we need to focus on harder. And then we've done some surveying, and we're going to start off. We have committee weekend coming up in early May, and looking forward to starting that with all our different committees and with our strategic planning committee, and then continue to do some surveying and getting feedback from our membership. And then we're really going to use LLC again to help really drill down to what we need to do, what kind of services, what kind of things our focus should our association be to help address the issues that keep our managers up at night.
Yeah, could we talk about a couple of those issues? What were some of the big things that you found out that do keep people up at night?
Well, as in our industry, and it appears that it's almost in every industry, the number one item that keeps managers up at night is hiring, retaining, training, and developing staff. It's been a huge challenge for managers all across the country, and I know that's true. I've been fortunate enough to attend the golf industry show for the superintendents and also the PGA show, and they really focus on that also. I know here at Myers Park, trying to develop our service staff has been a challenge as they could take their skills anywhere, go from here to go to another club or go to a restaurant, and we have different types of pay scales, which has been a real challenge for us in the industry. I think developing talent has been a real challenge, and one thing we'd like to address is with the students and internships. As we go through this process, one of the things that we're identifying also is the importance of developing our students and keeping them within the industry. One of our challenges has been that they come to conference, they enjoy what they see, but they end up going with a hotel where they appear to have a better training program, and we need to do a better job of demonstrating the training and developing of staff that we could do in the hospitality or specifically in the private club industry.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a trend throughout the country. I know even in my own business, it was a lot easier to find talent and hold talent, maybe 8-9 years ago. It's a completely different circumstance today where it's such a competitive market for the few people that are out there that are qualified. I think we all feel that pain. Absolutely.
Well, The good news is that the economy is good.
Yeah.
The bad news is the economy is good. I mean, with unemployment being at 4%, which really translates to very few people looking for jobs, we have to be the very best we can be to attract and retain talent. And we have to continue to develop ways to make us the employer of choice.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you seen any clubs out there that have tackled that problem in a unique way or have addressed that problem?
I really believe that one way to do that is clubs are more and more becoming universities, so that they're doing a great job with developing their staff from within. It's very hard to bring staff on because they're happy where they are or they're being taken care of where they are. So you need to train and develop your own people, whether it's day in and day out on the job training or just developing their skill set. I know that guys like Michael McCarthy has done a great job with the university at his club at Addison Reserve. You know, Joe Kren's done a good job with his internship program, as Matt Lambert has done down in West Palm. These clubs have been leaders in our industry in developing their students, their internship program, and realizing how important it is to provide mentorship. And I think one of the things that we provide a very good job of, but we don't capitalize enough on it, is the mentorship opportunities that private club managers do for their staff and people in the business. Yeah,
great points. Absolutely. Well said. Now, as you mentioned, it's been 5 years since the original strategic plan of the CMAA, and some of those things that kept managers up at night might have changed over the last 5 years. So is there any new issues arising, things that you're going to be wanting to address in the coming years?
I think we need to continue to evolve as an association. I look forward to hearing what our membership is telling us. We're in the process of doing some surveying and also hearing from our committee leaders and also looking from our chapter leaders. One of the things that we've worked on for the past year and a half is what we're calling chapter alignment, and whether alignment, making sure all our chapters in national are providing a great value proposition for our membership, and that we have equitable membership experience for all our members, whether you're in Nebraska or in Florida or in Charlotte, North Carolina. Are we providing a very equitable membership experience for them, or at least have the opportunity for them to be for them to have that good experience?
So you're looking at the where the chapters are located regionally, and if there's enough chapters and things like that. Then
I think it is all about: is it chapters? Are we providing enough leadership to each chapter? Mm-hmm. Are we providing enough professional support for them? Because as in any association, there's the paid staff, like we have a national CMAA, or the managing directors, which are really the backbone of our association across this country. They're the ones who provide continuity and consistency. And do we have enough unpaid leadership? A lot of our smaller chapters, which I've been a part of and helped try to lead, is that you keep rotating the leadership through the same people, and sometimes that just doesn't work because they've done their thing, they're looking on to do something else, and you keep having to go back to the well over and over again. Where a large chapter has a much larger pool of candidates who want to spend that time or have the ability of time to help lead their chapter or take their turn being a part of the leadership.
Yeah, that's right. You're working on the National Student Development Task Force, so I'd love to hear a little bit more about that, Mark.
Sure. We are in the very beginnings of that process. Also was announced at conference. I know that our chairman, Randy Reuter, has had great passion around student chapters, and also he's also run, I think he's going to run a second student conference later this year. And he knows that I have great passion for our students also. So we're trying to look at it three ways. First of all, how can we help support the student chapters? And really the backbone of the student chapters is the support they receive from the school, and also the person at the school who's on staff, who's helping make that chapter successful. I look at what Jack Fry has done at Niagara when he was there, how important to have that student sponsor be so strong, and how we could support them. Also, when they're in school, how we can provide good internship experiences for our students who are working at clubs, so that gives them a good feel for what clubs are about. And then just as importantly, postgraduate jobs, because obviously when they graduate, they're looking for jobs. And what are we doing to help attract and retain these outstanding students who come to conference or go to student conference, who are very, very engaged within their industry. A lot of times we've lost them to the hotels, who have done a much better job of marketing this management and development program. And I think more and more clubs are developing them and making it much more flexible, so that they have there's a path for success within our industry, and helping to find that. Like I said, we're in the very beginning of this. We have some great people on this committee, and looking forward to tackling this issue over the next year. And I know that, like I said, Randy Reuter, our chairman, has great passion, and I have good passion about it also. I'm looking forward to finding ways to continue to retain this outstanding student talent that we have, and keep them in the club industry.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there one thing you would tell clubs, in terms of their recruiting, or, a message or something that they should be telling some of these younger hospitality professionals to attract them instead of going to hotels?
Well, it's funny. One of the first things that the students are looking for, especially for their internship, is housing. Anything you could do to provide housing for them as they come from all over the country, whether it's, I've been in college towns where they're looking for some people to take up their housing during the summer months, using that, or if you have property that you have or condos you could have, anything you could do to provide housing for them makes you that more attractive.
No, that's great.
I think you get over that. I think you get over that hurdle. One of the most important things is to lay out at the very beginning what your objectives are, what your goals are, what you're looking for from these internships, and have a structured program where they understand what their expectations are, they understand what your expectations are, and you constantly are discussing them as you go through this process, whether it's a 3-month internship, a 6-month internship, a 12-month in development. I think it's so important to have a strong communications and make a commitment and follow through with that commitment, as they should also.
No, that's fantastic. That's great advice. And I bet you could go even a step further there and talk about, cool housing for these people, or the way millennials and the younger generation want to live, and is a little bit different than some of the other generations. You got to take that into account as well.
Maybe you and I did. I concur 100%.
Yeah.
And what's happening is that these golf tournaments are doing a great job of tapping in. I know Tom Deloitte did a great job with the PGA Championship of tapping into South Carolina and having all these kids work the PGA Championship. And Augusta National does a great job of having all these kids from South Carolina and Florida State and Augusta University. And you look around, there are all these students who are working in the Masters, and what a great opportunity would be to extend that beyond just the Masters and having other clubs pick up on that.
Right.
And I think that's hugely important, that you have this enthusiasm, feed off that, and provide a meaningful experience for them.
Absolutely. Well said. You've got some wonderful philosophies. I've kept up with you on social media and some of the things you've written and whatnot. So I'd love for you to just explain your philosophy of the club business for us.
Sure. Well, I'm blessed. I graduated with an accounting degree, and I was a debit head at a large accounting firm, and was very blessed to come into the industry by working on a number of clubs in the Pittsburgh area. And I was blessed to work for a great mentor. I was at Oakmont, and I walked into Pat LaRocca's office, and I sat there. I was about to ask him a very important audit question, which might have been like, why is inventory up, or something like that, which is probably pretty meaningless. And on his wall, he had two things on his wall. He had one thing that said CMAA and one said CCM, and I had no idea what that meant. And he's taking me on a great journey on in the club business, and he's been a great mentor to me. But one thing he taught to me, and I learned that from him and Bob Ford, the PGA pro there, and Mark Coons, the superintendent, is that we are not in the golf business or the swim business or the food and beverage business. We're in the experience business. And the only way we're going to be successful and encourage people to use their club is we need to be relevant to them in their lives, and we have to provide a wonderful experience for them. And we've got to keep that in mind every time they touch their club, and trying to manage those moments of truth is so important.
Yeah.
And on the flip side, in order for the club to be successful and be able to deliver that, it's our responsibility. We talk about in Charlotte, we are the club of choice in Charlotte for our membership, but we also got to be the club of choice for our staff, and we got to continue to find ways to engage our staff, to continue to make them better. And at times that provides challenges for us because they are bettering themselves and moving on to better jobs, which we fully support, but it causes to be some shorthand sometimes. So we got to be constantly finding new talent and refilling our bench so that we have good talent to provide a wonderful membership experience.
Yep, just like a professional baseball team, you got to have a pretty deep bullpen these days, don't you?
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. And that's why I am such a big fan of the internship program, and also always expanding your network and scouting talent. And when I got here, we realized that we have 1,000 kids under the age of 18. 1,000 kids under the age of 18. And every year we punted on adding a youth activities director, and finally we decided we needed that position, and she has come on and just lit a fire of enthusiasm and does stuff that I would never have the idea to do, whether it's putting 35 golf carts in the ballroom for a winter drive-in, or putting 25 tons of ice on one of the hills on our golf course to create a sledding day in February.
Wow, cool.
But those kids' memories will always be there. And
right.
They will always have those memories and those touch points, and they're our future members.
That's
at the same time, we have to do the same thing for our seniors also, because they want to feel that they're being taken care of also. So you have to be constantly finding new ways to engage them.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Well, that's a perfect lead into my last question for you, Mark, which is you've put really your heart and soul into this industry, and you continue to be a leader, not only in the CMAA, but the industry as a whole. And I'd love to just find out from you what you would love your lasting legacy to be.
Wow. I've been blessed to work and know great managers within our industry, and I think about what Skip Avery has talked to me a lot about is, they don't remember what you say or what you do. They just remember how you make them feel, and the fact that our industry has touched people's lives in such meaningful ways, and we're there with them when they have celebrating birthdays or anniversaries or weddings, or holding them when they're going through some deep sorrow. And it's important that we touch them in their lives and make them feel good about those experiences, or support them when they're going through a tough time. And I also say that not just for our members, it's for our staff and for the managers that we're developing who really want to be successful. And I think it's really neat that, at least myself personally, is that having great relationships with members, but also with managers, not just in front of the house and the back of the house. It's the great relationships I have with my superintendent friends, whether it's all the way up from Red Evans, who's executive director of the GCSAA, all the way down to our assistant superintendents or our grounds crew, and the same thing with the PGA, or John Embry with the Tennis Association. I think it's important developing those networks and having those friends and people you can rely on as you try to navigate this wonderful field.
Yeah, you're right. It's all about the relationships. That's the business we're in, and you've done a great job of it. Mark, I really appreciate you coming on, sharing your wisdom with us. If people want to just learn more about you or maybe reach out to you, how would they best go about doing that?
Sure. You can always reach out to me through Twitter. I'm Mark_Bado. I'm on Instagram sometimes, Mark_Bado. Email always works, mbado@myersparkcc.com, or give me a call, 704-790-7882, 704-790-7882. Thanks. I'm blessed with a great network, and believe me, I don't have any great ideas, but people always provide me good ones. And
Nice. Thanks so much for being a guest here on Private Club Radio with us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
What a great guy. So humble, just salt of the earth gentleman right there. That was a great interview. Really enjoyed speaking with Mark. And what I liked also about Mark is when I asked him if he'd come on the show, he said yes right away, scheduled himself into the calendar immediately, which told me that he was motivated. And so often I ask people to come on the show, and I think they get cold feet and they put it off and they're nervous, but you can tell someone is really a leader, really a servant leader when they show up. So thanks, Mark, for showing up. It was great to have you on Private Club Radio. I'm heading up to DC this week for the National Club Conference to gather up some interviews to bring you over the coming week, so I hope you will stay tuned. I'll be back next week. I hope to see you here as well. Until then, here's to your membership success.
Private Club Radio is brought to you by Concert Golf Partners, helping to preserve and enhance private golf and country clubs. Concert Golf has the capital, expertise and private club hospitality experience to help upscale private clubs achieving long-term success and membership growth. For 25 years, Concert Golf has allowed private club members to focus on simply enjoying their club. Visit concertgolfpartners.com to learn more about the recapitalization process.